A lot of you know, man, I did an interview today. It actually aired today on CBS Mornings. You can check it out online somewhere, I'm sure, but it aired this morning. And, what was so ironic about that interview is that interview wasn't tied to anything, right? I've had books come out. I've had things come out that usually people want to interview you about. But the host of the show actually read my book, years later after it came out. The Greatest You came out in 2019, and he wanted to do an interview. And to me, that was nothing but God. I feel like it was my mom pulling strings. And that was actually one of my favorite interviews that I ever did. So if you got to check it out, thank you. If you haven't checked it out, feel free to search it online. So I'm sure CBS Mornings, you just put Trent Shelton, it'll pop up. But it talked about my story. And it was one part of the interview that I'm glad that they showed, and I wasn't sure if they were. But he asked me a question about failure. And I want to talk to you about this because I feel like so many of us on this live right now, we feel like that, we made too many mistakes. We feel like that we've had too many failures in our life. And I used to be like that too. I felt like a failure. When I lost football, I felt like I let my mom down. I felt like I let my dad down. And speaking about my mom, it was really hard for me today because everybody was calling me. My aunt called me. And even though I know my mom is no longer here, I was still waiting on that call for some reason. Because every time I'm on TV, she would be hitting me up, Trent, I'm so proud of you. But I know she's proud of me, and I felt her spirit today. I actually feel her spirit right now. And I remember me losing football. I felt like I let my parents down. I felt like I let my friends down. I felt like I let everybody down. And I consider myself a failure. And I want to talk to everybody on this live because some of you are in positions right now where something didn't work out. Maybe it was a relationship. Maybe it was a dream. Maybe it was a job. Maybe it was something that happened 2 years ago, and you defined your life by that moment. You've allowed that moment to become your identity, and you consider yourself a failure. So many people in this world are so afraid to fail. So many people in this world experience failure, and they give up on life. Let me tell you something right now, man. I hope this brief message is a message that keeps you going. He asked me this question. I told him this answer. I said, you know what? Failure is only when you stop trying. I want to let you know, no matter how hard it may be, no matter how hard it is, no matter how many setbacks you endure, no matter how many challenges and obstacles, if you're still breathing, if you're still going, if you're still trying, my friend, let me tell you something. You are not a failure. I don't care what the world says. I don't care what opinions say. I don't care what the mirror even says. You say to yourself, you are not a failure. Failure only exists to the person that no longer tries. Failure only exists to the person that gives up and quit. You might say, man, I failed in so many relationships. You're not a failure. You just learn what you don't want. You just learn what you need to work better at. You just learn. Failure is feedback. I want you to understand that you cannot be great without failure. You cannot succeed without failure. You cannot get to your next level without failure. If success was a road, it would be paved with failure. If success was a road, gravel would be failure. If success was a road back in the days, the bricks that are laid on that road would be failure. In order to get to a place in your life, in order to learn, in order to grow, you have to endure attempts of not getting it right. You have to endure attempts of not being perfect. You have to endure attempts of setbacks. So please understand, just because it ain't working out like you want it to work out now, it's okay because it's probably going to work out better than you intended to in the first place. The dream is probably going to be more powerful than you ever dreamed of. The purpose that God has for you is going to be more purposeful than you ever could have thought. Sometimes we have to go through the process. So when you try and you don't succeed, that is not failure, my friend. That is called process. I want you to hear me and hear me clear because too many of us, we give ourselves a death sentence. We start thinking less about ourselves. We start getting depressed. We think that, oh man, you know what? I'm a failure. Nobody cares about me. That is not failure. That is called the process. The process sucks. The process doesn't work out the way it's supposed to work out all the time. You're going to go through things that don't work out just so you can learn better things so something better can work out for your life. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for quote unquote the process. I've had lives that I sucked at. I had speaking engagements that I sucked at. I had books that I written before The Greatest You that I sucked at. As a football player, I had times before I made it to the NFL that I was terrible, but that was feedback. I never defined my life by that moment of trying. We live in an age where people make it so uncool to try. We live in an age where people act like they got to be there once they start. They got to be at their finish line once they get to their start line. We live in an age where social media has convinced us that we got to be perfect, that trying, that attempting, that setbacks ain't cool. That is a part of the process. I always tell my kids that I coach, I tell people that I mentor, and I'm telling you right now, fail forward, fail often. Because failure doesn't define you. That is called the process. That is called feedback. And I'm going to tell you something about this. People ask, Trent, how do you get so much knowledge and wisdom? Listen, I don't consider myself an expert. I don't consider myself having all this wisdom in the world, but I've lived life just like you. I've been through some things in life that didn't work out. And so I can tell a person like, nah, don't go down that way. I've been down that road. That road is not going to lead you nowhere. But it took me going down that road. Some of you are experiencing things, and please hear me clear. Some of you are experiencing things in your life, right, that is not for you. But it's for people coming behind you. It's for you to help other people. If you didn't go through it, how can you tell other people to get through it? Please hear me clear. If you didn't go through it, how could you tell other people to get through it? How could you tell your kids, this is how you get through this if you never went through it? How could you tell your kids, hey, listen, this is just a season. Trust me, I've been here. This is just a season where you're losing friends. This is just a season where it doesn't make sense. I've been through it, but everything's going to work out. How do you know that? Because you've been through it. How can I talk to you with so much confidence and belief? Because I've been through it. How can I speak to you right now with so much certainty? Because I've been through so many uncertain moments in my life that God still had my back in those moments, and he still delivered on his promises, even when I felt like he wasn't going to deliver. That's why I can talk to you with so much certainty, even in uncertain moments, because I know if God did it before, he will do it again. And if he can do it for me, he can do it for you. So understand, when you're going through your journey that doesn't make sense, it's always a bigger picture. Never let the small moments distract you from the bigger picture. Never let the small setbacks, distract you from the bigger picture. Never let the small bumps in the road kill your destination and kill your journey. It's a part of the process, and you got to trust the process. You got to trust the process. It's like making a cake. Y'all heard that analogy. If you take all the ingredients from a cake, it's terrible. But when you put those ingredients together and you bake that cake comes out delicious. And that's a part of your life. You're going to have pieces of your life that look terrible. They look terrible. You're going to have seasons in your life that you're not proud of, that you look back and you're going to be disgusted at, that people will be disgusted if they knew certain things about you. But you know what? Those things, when they came together, those things that allowed you to become smarter, to become wiser, to become stronger, those things, right? Those things that were meant to hold you back but really built you up. Those things, when they come together and they construct to something more powerful than the things that try to make you powerless, those people are going to look at you and say, I'm proud of you. And some of you knew some of my story, the things that I went through. I share a lot of it, but it's some things that I'm not proud of, some things that you wouldn't be proud of. It's some things that I indulged in during my journey of losing football that I'm not proud of. But you know what? I didn't give up. And now people say, Trent, I'm proud of you. Now I'm a person that my parents are proud of. Now I'm a person that my kids are proud of. My wife is proud of. My friends are proud of. But I had a lot of unproud moments in my life, y'all. And that's what I want to tell you. A lot of you are going to have some unproud moments in your life, but that doesn't define your life. That doesn't make you who you are. What makes you who you are is not what happens to you, but how you respond to what happens to you. What makes you who you are is not what happens to you, but how you use what happens to you. I want you to understand that. So I just want to talk to everybody this morning to keep going. I don't care how it may look, to keep going. I don't know how it may seem, but keep going. Your journey is yours, my friend. And just because you've had some setbacks, some failure, it doesn't make you a failure. It makes you stronger. Failure is only when you quit. Failure only exists in the soul that doesn't try. So if you're trying, you're successful. And I'll leave you with this. Success isn't defined in my mind through accomplishment. Success is defined in my mind through the attempt. If you're attempting to accomplish, if you're attempting to become better, see, this is the thing, man. We live in a world where everybody celebrates you. Like today, I appreciate the love. Everybody, I'm proud of you, Trent. I'm proud of you because they see that. They see me on TV. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. And I appreciate it. You know what I mean? I appreciate those things because I went through a lot to get to the moment where I'm at now. But I'm not proud of this moment, right? This is not my proudest moment that people are saying, I'm proud of you, Trent, for being on CBS Mornings or for reaching people across the world. My proudest moment are the moments when I wanted to give up, but I kept going. When I wanted to give up and I looked up and said, God got me. Those are my proudest moments. My proudest moments in my life is the attempts to do better. It's the attempt to keep going. It's the attempt to try something different. It's the attempt to leave a better legacy. It's the attempt to change the generations after me. It's the attempt to help kids. It's the attempt to help athletes. It's the attempt to help souls across the world. It's the attempt. That's my proudest moment. Now, what happens after that, I appreciate it. So I want to let you know we have to normalize this. We got to normalize telling people we're proud of them, not just when they reach the destination, but we're proud of them for taking the damn journey. So if you can do anything for me today, tell yourself that and reach out to somebody that you see is trying. They might not be there yet. Wherever there is, they might not be celebrated. They might not be pats on the back because people wait to celebrate people when it's convenient, when the world's celebrating them. Be the person that celebrates a person for trying. Maybe that person's going through addiction and just checked into rehab. Celebrate them for checking into rehab, not just when they get clean, but for checking into rehab. Maybe it's a person that just lost their dream, right? And they're trying to do better. Celebrate that person for trying to do better. Because that's what we need more of. Too many times we wait till it's convenient to support people and to cheer for people and to congratulate people. It's good then, but the world is doing it. They need your support when nobody's supporting them. They need your support in that first step, not the last one. So I hope that touched your heart, and I want to tell you I'm proud of you. Not for making it happen, but just for the attempt of trying to make it happen with your life. You are not a failure if you're choosing not to quit. That's the greatest success that you will ever have, is to keep going, is to keep moving forward and let nothing hold you back, because nobody knows what you deal with. Nobody knows except you what you deal with when you lay your head on that pillow. Nobody knows how hard it is for you to take a step forward. Nobody knows how hard it is for you to give today a try. Nobody knows how hard it is for you not to quit, but you do. And I want to celebrate you for that. I want to honor you for that. I want to uplift you for that. Because to me, that's the greatest power. You not giving up when you have every reason to give up. Don't wait till it's convenient to celebrate yourself. Celebrate yourself now. If you felt this message, I want everybody on this live right now to say, I'm not a failure. I'm going to shout you out in the comments. Thank you, Valerie. I appreciate you. I want you to say I'm not a failure, because you're not. I don't care what life is telling you. I don't care what circumstances is telling you. I don't care what your friends are telling you. I don't care what this world is telling you. You are not a failure. Because if I would have believed that I was a failure 13 years ago, 12 years ago, then I wouldn't be here right now. I say, you know what? I'm going to allow this setback to set me up for the greatest comeback in my life. I could never imagine that I would be here right now, speaking to you, talking to you, impacting people, impacting the world. I would never in my wildest dreams think that. But it started with me telling myself, I'm going to use this to build my life. I'm going to use the stones that they throw at me to build something great. I'm going to use what the world intended for harm for my good. I'm going to use what was sent to break me down to build me up. Angela says I'm not a failure. James says I'm not a failure. Angie says I'm not a failure. Man, Diana says I'm not a failure. Man, Denise says I will never give up. Raymond, I'm not a failure. I love it. George says I'm not a failure. Believe that. All right, even your hardest moments, believe that. Failure is not based upon what you have in your life and how people celebrate you and how people look at you or what you accomplish and things like that. Failure is simply defined by if you're trying or if you're quitting. And if you're trying, to me, that's the greatest success you could ever have. I appreciate you, Rose. I appreciate you, Christy. I appreciate you all for tuning in with me today. Check out the interview on CBS. Hopefully it touches your heart. Hopefully it impacts you. And as you can see, man, I'm in the best place I've ever been in my life. I finally feel back. Like, I just feel like myself. I feel like myself. And I've been fighting and finding this feeling trying to find this feeling for, in the last year or so. But I finally feel like I'm back to myself, man. And it feels good. And I'm going to tell you, I got back to this moment by not quitting. That's it. By not quitting. I didn't judge myself. I wasn't hard on myself. I allowed the process to do what the process does. I allowed myself to go through the journey. I allowed myself to figure things out. I allowed myself to take it at my own pace. I allowed myself to grow. I allowed myself to learn. And when you allow yourself to do those things, I promise you growth, change is going to happen in your life. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you hit the bell. There is a bell on here, so you can subscribe when I go live. Make sure you text me if you're not a part of the text community. I do awesome things in there. It's free, inspiration every single day, and just information when I'm coming to your city or things like that. All right, I love you. Always protect your peace, protect your life, protect your soul, protect your mind, protect your health, and most importantly, protect you. Straight Up Podcast, check it out today. It's called Peace is Priceless. You're on yesterday's live as an extension off of that. Anywhere you listen to podcasts, check it out. All right? Peace out. Love you. Let's get it.